I just want to blanket discuss the idea that deplatforming someone or removing them, right, from a Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or Spotify, that somehow is stopping free speech. I take issue with that, and especially people who are supposedly on the left or are progressive and think that that is a way to stop free speech, and not just because these are private corporations who can do whatever they want with their own platforms. That's a piece of it, but also because it's often, let's be real, 9 times out of 10, the people who are like, that's squelching free speech. Like, they're all, for the most part, straight white men with a fair amount of economic power. I'm just going to put that out there. But secondly, they also presume, like I think a lot of libertarians presume, that free speech right now is equal. That all speech is equal. That my speech is no different than than Candace Owens' speech. It's the same exact speech. We have the same exact reach and following, and that is bullshit, right? Because it misunderstands two things. One, there is deep inequity when it comes to speech and who is speaking, who has a platform, when and why, who gets lifted up and when and why. And that is not already based on systems of oppression. And I would definitely argue that, for example, someone like Candace Owens gets platformed because she is a Black woman who is basically grifting off of throwing every other Black woman under the bus and the entire Black community, women, etc. So, like, that's the specific reason. But it also assumes that the platforms we have are like neutral, that, oh my God, everyone's equal on Twitter. Didn't you know that? It's a pure democracy. No, we know whose voices get silenced. We know whose voices get lifted up. They are, again, a replication of systemic inequities in other spaces, in real life, IRL. So if you think that the platforms that exist aren't already skewed in favor of the most bigoted, anti-science, outlandish, conspiracy theorist laden crap, you're insane. These companies are making bank. So when they are finally pulling the plug on some folks, when they kick Trump offline, it's when Jack no longer needed Trump because he got everything he could get out of him and he was no longer going to be president, right? It's like the Catholic Church being like, I think we should probably reprimand some cardinals for the whole pedophilia thing. That's how you know it's way more of a problem, when they start to crack down a little bit. So I would say that these companies, they not only are private companies, but they also are companies that have been making hand over fist money on this kind of BS. And so, yes, I believe in deplatforming, but more than that, deplatforming is simply a way for these corporations, I think, to save their asses in a lot of ways. For me, what we should be arguing for on the left is actually regulating and breaking up big tech. Why? Well, first of all, it's more capitalist if you actually believe in fair competition. But second of all, we know that fake news spreads 10 times, not just 10 times, 1,500 times faster than real news. So that these platforms, fake news spreads like wildfire. False information spreads like wildfire. What happens when you break it up? Well, you contain the fires, right? There are fewer and fewer. You can't poison the entire well with one die cast, so to speak. You have less profiteering off of that hate speech, off of the misinformation, and you have a less concentrated amount of that information. That's what we should be arguing for always. And yeah, am I afraid that if Trump got reelected and he wanted to, make everything whatever, one giant government run social media platform, that is scary. But at the same time, the idea is to build in checks and balances, right? This would be a body that would withstand, they wouldn't be appointed by the president, right? Congressional oversight, etc. That's what we mean when we say break up big tech. That's what we mean when we say regulate, so people can stop making money and then deciding when they want to cut their boy loose because they're tired of making money from Ben Shapiro. It might happen. We might say one thing too many. Well, you can be anti-trans up to a point, and then we're like, oh, we're a little tired of you being anti-trans, even though you do it all the time and we love it and we make tons of money off of it. So I just want to That's what I mean. Don't give me your free speech BS. The entire system needs to be overhauled. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.